Hey everyone, this is Tappers here once again, and welcome back to the Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland Let's Play. When we last left off, we finished off Grape Garden, and now we are tumbling right into Yogurt Yard, which, if you recognize this music, you'll remember that this is actually a remix of Red Canyon, or vice versa, depending on which one comes first, or Red Canyon was a remix of Yogurt Yard from the NES, but that doesn't really matter because this music is actually, I would say, admittedly, a better version of the Red Canyon music, and now this is kind of weird because it's also at this point we kind of see some weird stage layouts, and by that, or well, locations I should say, because we were in a mountainy region in that intro there where Kirby was tumbling down like Sisyphus chasing after the Max Tomato before rolling back down. For some reason we're starting out in the clouds, but then again we did beat what's his name, Kracko, so maybe we're just heading to familiar territory, pastures of pleasantry, poshness. Except that made absolutely no sense. Now, this world has 4 secrets as far as I remember. And, well, knowing that there's still some more worlds, you know that there's probably going to be a ton more in the next one. Also, there's another shot at getting Needle that I didn't get because I am really stupid. And because of that, I am frozen today. So we have to settle for getting the ice power-up instead of having the freeze, and yeah, that's that stage. We are going to be in mountainous territory from now on, at least in this area, I would assume. Although, to be honest, I don't entirely remember Yogurt Yard, and Kirby is sad at the fact that I don't remember things as we lost in Bomb Rally. Now, I didn't mention this. Oh, and we got the air raid theme, whatever you want to call it, but I never mentioned the difference or no, I did mention the differences in mini games, but I never actually mentioned their names. In Kirby's Adventure, the mini games were Crane Fever, Egg Catcher, and Quick Draw. Quick Draw is pretty much the same on both sides, but I think I mentioned that in Adventure you use actual guns, which are actually boxing glove guns. Don't ask how. While in this one you know that they use swords or fans or whatever, kind of interesting stuff. Now Crane Fever I never mentioned. It's a crane game where you get like 2 chances to grab the big or small Kirbys, which can be difficult if you're not on point or if you're unlucky. But that one would get replaced by Bomb Fever, I guess, or the Air Grind. And then Egg Catcher, which I kind of mentioned before, is, what was it? Oh, the Egg Catcher is where you eat the eggs and then you avoid the bombs. And if you hit a bomb, then, yeah, I've already kind of said all this, so, yeah. But that was Bonkers. He's pretty much dead, and we get the hammer ability, which we do get, and if I remember correctly, this is where they have, yeah, having it in a sloping area like this, you do definitely need to jump, otherwise you're kind of in trouble. So, yeah, also right down here, you need to avoid death just to get a 1-up. That's always pretty cool, but yeah, we get number 1, and it's nighttime because, well, Yogurt Yard, it looks like yummy greatness of stuff. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but it's like, we're already kind of several minutes in, and we're already like 2 stages into, and we see all the palette swaps because they definitely look like yummy yogurt. Or, well, not really. The Scarfies are still more or less the same, and I got a little gunshot because I'm expecting a sabotage somewhere up here, except it didn't happen. So, hooray! I didn't actually die at this point, and yeah, no enemies in that flying hallway. So it's like, we're looking kind of good. We can take Wheelie out for a spin and then completely miss the edge and hit the corner and die because of it. That one I could say it's my fault, but at the same time I kind of wish there was a little more to work with, but I eventually get it here. But now there is some really solid level design that allows for Wheel to be used effectively, and then it does crap like that. It's like, why on earth would you put a pit of spikes that you don't necessarily know is going to be there, and you can't even jump while using Wheelie, unless we're talking about later games in the series, which is kind of funny considering that in Superstar, yes, it's in Superstar, you can actually jump while in Wheelie, at least I think you can, or maybe I'm thinking of Superstar and several of the later games, so I'm probably talking out of my ass when saying that. Also, of course, the 1-up is booby-trapped where you can die if you stay in stone form, while the 1-up, or I mean the max tomato, is completely generous. Now, I screwed up because I was actually supposed to take the parasol power-up and just float down, but instead I just decided to float down with Puffer Kirby, and it wasn't really too bad because I kind of at least knew what I'm doing. The spikes aren't exactly that forgiving either, so fortunately I at least knew what I was doing. And yeah, do I go into the museum and show what powers of interest are here? Well, we have Stone Tornado, one of which I already have, and we're just going to sink into the ocean and win yet another air grind. And goodness, we won by at least 2 seconds, maybe 3. But yeah, that's 3-second win. I mean, what happened to whatever happened in the first attempt of this? It's like, I'll just contribute to that to the recording curse or something. But I at least do like this Yogurt Yard compared to Red Canyon in a sense, because I mean, okay, usually I would say it really should have settings that are pretty much consistent, but at the same time, I guess maybe I could just say that, oh, and suddenly we have Meta Knight, because I guess it wasn't actually a what's it called? Also, you can't cheat this by just holding down the spark to win button, because their range is actually frighteningly long, and also they can just randomly charge into you when they appear, which kind of sucks. But yeah, this is kind of one thing I do like about when it's test your might, I should say, and then just include the Mortal Kombat theme song of relevance or whatever. But what I do like is that they do have set pieces for fighting these enemies, or of Meta Knight, his knights that say no, of New, or Kaboo, I should say, no. But, and I mean, I think I do remember there being waterfalls in Red Canyon, or at least something of the like, and there are like bottomless pits, but I still feel like there's some good design in here, despite the previous stage having a really questionable decision with the wheelie room. But yeah, that's, I think, our third switch of this world, and we still have one more. Spoilers, there's actually 4 switches in World 5, and once again my sound just completely cut out for whatever reason. I don't remember how to get that 1-up. I want to say that there's like a secret, or you need like a certain power-up to get it. I mean, if we were in the Return to Dreamland games, we would just use the whip power-up to grab 1-ups, or presumably we would be able to do that. And whip isn't exactly one of the power-ups I particularly care for, because most of the attacks are just, I guess, too samey for my taste, which can be, I guess it's a little bit hypocritical considering that you could say that about others, but a lot of them are just letting your whip loose, and yeah. Also, don't eat that Wild D, he's poisonous, except he's not really, because Wild D can be a bro at times. But yeah, Now we have kind of another interesting puzzle, which I do like. Unfortunately, they kind of put that little extra overhang, and I got burned for it, except, well, I'm not even going to blame it on that. You need to break that with high jump, or probably some other power-up that I'm not thinking of, but then you need the fire ability in order to get launched up here, and actually, this is our third switch here, not the second, or the third on the previous one. But that one's not too bad. Although, I think the next one can... Actually, it's not even that big of an issue. What am I talking about? But... Now, I should mention that I do love this forest music. And one thing I should point out is that... And this is kind of just useless trivia that doesn't really matter. This forest theme appears in the... tutorial of I Want to Be the Bashi, and for the longest time I didn't actually know where this piece of music came from, and eventually I learned about it when I had a race with Cheese and Up at one point. Of course, that race will never see the light of day because I'm stupid and I completely forgot to record stuff, so there's that. It was kind of a train wreck of a race for me anyway, but well, no, I shouldn't even say that because it sounds like an excuse. I'm completely ignoring this mini-boss that we haven't seen yet, Fire Lion. Lion. It sounds like Leon, so it's a tiger mixed with a chameleon to create a Leon. Except not really, but not particularly an interesting boss because, yeah, it just stomps to create stars and then it just... does other things, which is what these stupid Pigmas are doing because they're flying completely erratically, and not exactly a hard stage, but also it's also kind of a really quick world because we're already coming up to the last level of Yogurt Yard, and in order to go through this one, we actually need to quick draw first by fighting DDD, which we actually beat him for once. Congratulations to me, I get to fight Meta Knight, and yeah, that's kind of how it goes. Only once have I ever actually defeated Meta Knight in a quick draw, and that was probably like 20 years ago in Superstar when I did it in the quick draw mini game or whatever you want to call it. But we have a duel against Bonkers, and we need to do this in order to get the last hidden switch in Yogurt Yard, which, I mean, I'm okay with having powers in order to get stuff, although this one is kind of nasty in a way because you see all these wheelies and you might be thinking, oh, we actually need to we can use it to get through this level, but then you look at it and it's like, how in the world are you supposed to go through a level with terrain like this? It's kind of questionable and curious in some sort of sense. But we need to hang on to Hammer or another ability, and also beware that stones drop like a stone, because yeah, it's kind of redundant, but fortunately they don't take more than one hit to kill like in every other game, because otherwise that would kind of suck. Because in a lot of other games they take like 3 hits, maybe more. Also, Random Wild D just flew out of nowhere trying to get the jump on us. But the reason we need Hammer is to go through here because you need to break these blocks. But the only way to do that is by having an ability that can actually be used underwater, like Hammer, of course, because you can still swing it. I don't even remember if I've used Sword underwater, because that would be a case where that's something you use there. But otherwise, you can't break the blocks any other way. I mean, the only other ways would be if you had Stone or Throw, where you just throw a block in a certain fashion, or a diagonal fashion, have it bounce into it, and then the area is open to you. Now, we have the boss coming up, and I decided not to take Hammer with me because for whatever reason I decided I'm going to take Tornado to use because, well, this boss we are about to fight is probably one of the most boring and useless bosses in the Kirby series, but not my least favorite, not by a long shot. This is Heavy Mole, a machine that burrows through the rocky terrain that is Yogurt Yard, which kind of looks like it's a caramel yogurt, except that doesn't really make any sense because of kind of the terrain. But yeah, basically what it does is it digs through this area, moves up and down and all around to try and crush you in some way, because if you get off screen you do die, and occasionally shooting off missiles. These missiles do give you a power up. If you swallow the gold ones, I want to say you get sleep, which is really cruel because you can die because of that. Otherwise, you would get the hammer ability, which I want to say is the red missiles, or is it orange? I don't really remember, but yeah, that's the extent of this boss. It's not interesting in the slightest, and it certainly did not need to be a thing. And for whatever reason, I just felt like using the tornado because I thought I would rip through them, but that wasn't to be. So we have defeated Yogurt Yard, and thankfully in a better terrain. Next time we will be going off to Orange Ocean. This has been Tapras, and I'll see you again next time.